Hi, Anita Recap here. Today I'll recap with you the movie titled The Corpse of Anna Fritz. A young man named Paul works as a janitor at a morgue. One day he receives the body of the popular and beautiful Spanish actress, Anna Fritz, who died under mysterious circumstances in her bathroom. Carefully, Paul places the body alongside others and decides to take surprisingly. He sends the photo to his friend Ivan. Later, Ivan arrives at the hospital accompanied by his friend Javi, and they start talking. They invite Paul to a party, but he declines, mentioning that he'll be working late. Ivan abruptly asks if Paul has seen Anna's body, to which the janitor replies affirmatively, adding that the body will remain in the morgue until the next day. At that moment, Ivan convinces Paul to let them into the morgue, despite Javi's protests, who considers the idea inappropriate and dangerous. Ignoring Javi's warnings, Ivan insists, dragging his friend along. Inside the hospital morgue, Paul instructs them to act as if they are lost if someone sees them. Upon reaching the morgue, Paul plays a prank on them, revealing the body of an elderly woman under the sheet, frightening them. Finally, they come face to face with the body of the beautiful actress, and Ivan becomes infatuated with Anna. He decides to caress her body, surprising everyone by saying that she doesn't seem to be dead. He convinces Javi to do the same, against his will. Disapproving of his friend's actions, Javi wants to leave, but Ivan and Paul decide to continue. Ivan has the crazy idea of having relations with Anna Fritz, and Paul gives him some tips based on his previous experience. This excites Ivan even more, and he proceeds with his plan while Paul agrees, but Javi is disgusted with his friends. After Ivan's disturbing acts, it's Paul's turn, but as he's performing the act, to everyone's horror or surprise, Anna returns from the dead. However, she appears paralyzed and terrified by what is happening to her, not understanding anything that is going on. Paul panics and screams, causing his friends to rush into the room to find out what happened. Javi is the first to react in that situation, approaching Anna and trying to comfort her. He covers Anna with a blanket and goes to get her a glass of water. Meanwhile, both Paul and Ivan are horrified and aware of the consequences of their previous actions as they discuss the situation. The sound of footsteps approaches, prompting them to quickly turn off the lights, cover Anna's body, and hide behind another gurney. At that moment, another morgue employee arrives with another body, and Anna desperately tries to speak to ask for help, but she can't move due to the time she spent unconscious. Besides, her voice is weak and not heard by the janitor who leaves shortly afterward. Javi comes back to her side, trying to calm her down again, saying that he will take her to the hospital. At this point, Paul and Ivan face a difficult choice: to report Anna's revival and face charges for their actions, or make an extreme decision to cover everything up. Ivan argues that since the world believes Anna is dead, killing her and hiding their actions would be the best option. However, Javi refuses to agree and is willing to risk their lives to save her. He tries to take Anna outside, but Ivan doesn't want to let him go. They discover that the door is locked, and during the previous conflict, Paul had left the keys outside. Amidst the desperation, Javi shouts for help, but Ivan pushes him away, starting a violent fight. Ivan ends up seriously injuring his friend, causing him to lose a lot of blood. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Ivan and Paul take Javi to a storage room, where Ivan apologizes to him and says he will find a way to get him to the hospital. Third janitor arrives, and this time Paul approaches him and tries to distract him, explaining that he got locked inside after forgetting the key outside. Meanwhile, Ivan tries to control the situation, keeping Anna silent and looking at her threateningly, seemingly without remorse for his actions. Outside, the janitor believes Paul's story, but he's another one who wants to see Anna Fritz's body and asks Paul to show it to him. However, Paul manages to convince him to leave. While Ivan deals with guilt over assaulting his friend, he desperately tries to keep Javi away, but it's too late, and the innocent friend dies. Paul returns, and realizing the gravity of what happened, he starts crying, aware that his actions had terrible consequences and afraid of spending the rest of his life behind bars. However, Ivan has a sudden change of behavior and decides to get rid of Javi's body as well to avoid suspicions from the authorities. Meanwhile, Anna overhears their conversation and becomes frightened. A few minutes later, she begs to be set free, promising to keep their secret. Paul considers accepting the proposal, but Ivan interrupts him and takes him outside the room, emphasizing that their next steps will determine their lives, as Anna could report them if left alive. While they talk, Anna manages to get off the gurney and finds Javi's cell phone in his pocket. However, Ivan catches her and snatches the phone away hastily. Anna informs them that she already called her father and told him she regained consciousness, but she didn't say anything about them. At that moment, Ivan checks the phone and becomes alarmed seeing a dialed number, convincing himself that it's all over. The two friends then decide to take Anna to the hospital and inform the doctors that she regained consciousness. However, an unknown number calls Javi's cell phone, and Ivan answers the call while Paul keeps Anna silent. To their relief, Ivan finds out that Anna was lying because she couldn't actually make the call to her father. When they return to the morgue, Ivan, furious at Anna for deceiving them, is willing to send her back to the world of the dead. In response, she accuses him of violating corpses and calls him abnormal. Ivan decides that she must be eliminated, fearing that she will report them to the police. He leaves to find a trash can to move Javi's body. While he's away, Anna tries to convince Paul to free her, promising not to report him, and warns him about Ivan's cold-blooded nature, as he killed Javi and won't hesitate to kill him as well. Paul contemplates for a moment, but ultimately ignores her words and continues tying her up. With no other choice, Anna persists, telling Paul that Ivan strangled Javi in front of her and had no intention of taking him to the hospital. Unfortunately, Paul ignores her once again. Meanwhile, Ivan gets trapped outside the morgue as some nurses gather there to smoke. Paul is busy in another room cleaning up the evidence. Anna manages to carefully remove the tape and free herself by crawling away and hiding just in time before Ivan returns. However, when the men realize she has escaped, they panic and a chase ensues. They split up in search of Anna, who manages to escape and hide for a while. However, when she enters the elevator, Ivan catches up with her and violently drags her back to the morgue. Ivan and Paul decide to suffocate her with sheets, but Paul is somewhat skeptical and scared to participate in such an act, feeling pity for the girl. Nevertheless, he yields to Ivan's cruel insistence, not wanting to be solely responsible for everything. So they suffocate Anna until she appears to stop moving, seemingly lifeless. Next, they place Javi's body in the trash can, where Ivan will take him outside, while Paul cleans up the evidence from Anna's body and covers her with a white sheet, trying to disguise any recent injuries, making her look like the other corpses to leave no traces of her suffering. As Paul waits for Ivan, he hears Anna cough, seemingly coming back to life once again. Calmly, he instructs her to pretend she's dead, and we discover that the murder was staged, as Paul never applied pressure to suffocate her. When Ivan returns, Paul quickly covers Anna again, and they get ready to leave. However, before entering the elevator, Ivan realizes he left his card in the morgue and insists on going back to retrieve it. As he enters the room, he finds Anna alive and well trying to put on a hospital gown. This enrages Ivan, who accuses Paul of conspiring against him. Ivan grabs Paul by the throat, no longer caring about the possibility of going to jail. At that moment, Anna approaches and stabs Ivan twice in the neck, killing him. Witnessing the terrible act, Paul starts crying, thanking Anna for saving his life. However, Anna remains silent and stabs him multiple times in the abdomen, killing him too. In the final scene, we see Anna looking into the distance, tears streaming down her face, and blood scattered everywhere.